Hi everyone, today we're going to look at the Productivity 1000 Series PLC web server. And the Productivity Series PLCs has this built-in web server, and the web server can function as a non-secure HTTP connection to the CPU. And this is done all through your browser when you look at the information. You can then read the system-only files and see exactly what the PLC is doing. You can also save, delete, and open files that are stored on your micro SD drive on your controller. Now currently I am connected to my PLC via my Ethernet port, like right here, and the Ethernet port is what we use to actually set up the web server itself. And I've taken the same program we've had last time. We talked about the sequencers before, and I've taken part of that program and I left that in there, and we talked about data logging. And the data logging, I left that part in here so that we're still data logging into our controller through their micro USB drive. So currently right now I'm online to the system, and I'm communicating. You can see that I'm monitoring on my screen here. And I go to my setup system, or up there under application tools. You'll see hardware configuration. Double click it. This brings up my hardware configuration window, and I'm interested in my CPU itself. So we double click on the CPU, and it brings up the CPU window itself. And under the Ethernet port, you'll see here that the best way to do web server is to ensure that we have a static IP address, and we do that by using the following here. Now what we can do is look at our current system. In our current system, you'll see we have 192.168.116 with a gateway of 192.168.1.1. So what we want to do is just remember those numbers, and what we do is take it back to the previous screen, and we'll say use the following. We'll type in the 0.16 and 192 and the default gateway. Now the default gateway, just to let you know, is a method in which it allows the controller to have access to the internet. So once we have that set for our web server, we'll go to our remote access, which is this tab across the screen. And what we'll do is enable the web server function. Now the web server function, when we enable it, it automatically defaults to port number 80. And port 80 is the typically where the hypertext transfer protocol, or HTTP protocol, resides. So we'll leave that as the default port of 80. We'll also add our password option. We'll add the account ACC. And our password will just be all lowercase ACC to confirm it, and then we'll hit OK. So that is all we need to do to specify that we have a web server. Again, double click onto the memory unit, Ethernet port. We've set our IP address to static, and we've accessed our remote access to web server and the password option. Now, if this was on a bigger network and we have multiple users, I would also add the session timeout. This will allow you to specify exactly when a timeout happens so that it kicks the user off of the system, because we only have one at a time operating. Okay, so we'll just hit OK. We'll close that down now. And after we've changed the configuration, we'll have to transfer this information into the PLC. And we'll have to actually use a stop. We can't use it online because we actually changed the configuration. So we'll do a stop mode transfer. This now transfers everything into the PLC. And that's all done. So from a PLC point of view, or program point of view, it hasn't really much changed. So we've enabled the web server, transferred the information to the PLC. It's now running. Okay. We'll just save the file. Now the next thing to do is actually call up our browser. So here's our browser. I'm using Google Chrome right now. And what we do is we type in the web address of, or the IP address of the web server. .192.168.116. We hit enter. It will automatically come up with a login page, and in the login page we can enter our coordinates. It's ACC and our password, lowercase ACC. We'll log in. When we do, again, we have a menu, and this is my home menu. This brings me back to this page here. We have the Automation Direct website that we can go to here. We can actually log out. The help menu will actually get us to the Productivity 1000 series online manuals, so we can view at those from here. Then we have our download files and our system data. So let's look at our download files. When we hit it, what we see is actually a directory of all the logs that are on that micro SD card that we have. And in here we can see what we can delete files if we want to. So let's just, we'll delete this file here. Yes. And it's disappeared from the file, so we can delete that. We can also download them. And if we click on it, it'll start downloading here. And then what we can do is we can actually open it up. And when we open it up, in my case here, I just have opened it up in Notepad. And there's the file information that we have in there, so we can actually view it. So it's important that we actually are downloading it, so we're not changing it on the fly on the SD card. So very powerful. So then we can hit the back button, and the back button will go back to our previous one. And the last menu on this website in the web server is our data, our system data. Now this is a read-only type, and now we have all of these different options to see various parts of my controller. My run stop, you can see what the PLC mode is in, what switch. Okay. And we can hit back here, or we can just hit back on our browser. Either one will take us back to our previous menu. Then we look at various. It looks at our forces, our watchdog timer. This is our portable memory device read or ready, which is it is. And our portable memory device reject if it's ready to be rejected out of the PLC. So we'll just hit back again. Then we have our battery levels. We can monitor those to see what the voltage is on the battery for the backup of the program. We have our CPU and project. This tells us what actual program we're running in here and what the name of that program is. Good way of keeping track of exactly what version of software that you have in there and when it was downloaded. Scan tells us the scan rate of the PLC, total scans. There's a lot of different information that you can look at. We then have I/O configuration, which is actually I/O errors. So if we have any errors in our physical inputs and outputs and the configuration of those inputs and outputs, we'll see it right here. Then we have error array. So if we have an array that's it's an error because we used the wrong index, there's several different options here. You will see the indication here for your errors. Then we have our real-time clock that we can monitor and see exactly what the time and date is. Then we have our event. So this is when it stops, starts, when we transfer programs. So there's a lot of different items that we can see within the event. When the CPU goes from stop to start, it will create this event for us. Then we have critical errors. Critical errors will be something that will actually stop the PLC from operating. And currently right now we don't have any. And then we have non-critical errors that will cause the PLC to go into like an alarm condition. So that is everything that your web server can do for you. Now last time when we tried to read stuff from the memory card, we had to actually stop the CPU and pull out the card, or indicate that we're done logging into it, then pull the card out in order to read it through our computer system. This provides a much easier way to download the files that are on that card without actually leaving your desk. You could have this hooked up to your network and go in, grab that information and bring it in. So all the links and documentation can be found on our website at accautomation.ca. And if you like this video and like to see more, there are 3 ways in which you can help us out. You can give us a thumbs up so other people can find this information. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also go to ACC Automation and subscribe to our website. When you do, a notification will be given to you every time we publish new content to the site. You will also get 2 free ebooks on numbering systems and robust data logging. And the third thing to do to help us out is to tell a friend or colleague about the site. Alright, that's it for now. Thanks for watching.